That's right. It is the La Femme Film Festival 2022. My goodness, I can't believe we're here. It has been a ride. It's been a few years of just crazy. It's been a few years of fun. It's been a few years of just, well, we're going to have you have some really good, let's put it this way. The film festival each and every year has always excelled from the last. And I remember doing it all the way back to like, I want to say 2011, 2012, or 2013. I can't remember. It's been a long time ago. Leslie's been at it way longer than that. And I will say being a part of it's always fun, but being a part of something that I see sometimes like years later, I see some of these films being made into features. And I say this, I love it. And I love meeting the people behind the whole filmmaking world. And I say the future of the filmmaking world because a lot of these are doing film now, but they're doing stuff that are going to be seen like years later. And that's where I think we're at right now. And I'm super excited about that. We're doing this year virtual and we're doing something really cool. It's actually available on your TV device, also on your mobile device, your iPad, your iPhone, your Android, whatever you have, your computer or your laptop and your TV device. If you have a smart TV, you got to go check it out. It's Eventive. You can buy your tickets. We'll flash the link below in a little bit, but you can actually see all the great films that they have. And there's a bunch of them. Okay. I'm just going to bring on one really quick and you can see just this. It's not only amazing, but it's cool. And here's what I say, if you can, enjoy some of the things, I think you should be able to enjoy all this. This is where it's at, the film festival. You can go online and you can get your tickets right now for any of these great films. There's shorts, there's documentaries, there's features, there's everything and then some like that you can actually check out and be like, whoa, and you can check it out on your TV device. Okay, if you have a smart TV, download the app Eventive and you can participate in all this. There's so many great films and there's so many filmmakers. In fact, joining us right now is one who has done some pretty cool stuff. And I will say this, she has a film. It's an interesting one. It is, well, welcome to the show, Jamie.
Thank you very much for having me.
Yeah. Okay. You got a film. It's called Toxic Shock. I can only imagine. Now, I understand it's a comedy, but it's about like what?
Sure, yeah, I can definitely help out with that. So it's a naturalistic comedy about a young college girl who has a one night stand and then gets her period the morning after. So it's a story about her trying to hide the evidence as if she's committed some sort of crime against women for getting her period in front of a man. But then she kind of learns how ridiculous that is throughout the story. And then it ends up turning into a cute romantic comedy. So
Yeah, see, I wanted you to say it because I didn't know if I was like talking period because I saw the description. I go, is it a period piece? Is it the word that guys just don't want to say, but it's a fact of life? I mean, it helps you with life eventually, right? So I got to ask, what was that moment when you said, okay, I got to make this into something that I want to show people?
yeah, I think I started working on it in film school, and I don't know, it is actually somewhat inspired by true events in my life. And I was just thinking, like, oh, it would be really fun to make a story about that that's kind of entertaining and funny for both men and women. Obviously, the whole goal of the story is that you learn to laugh about how ridiculous it is that women feel so embarrassed about something that's completely normal. So I just thought it would be fun to turn that into a comedy. And I also am a sucker for romantic comedies. So, of course, I had to add the romantic element in there. And yeah, that's basically the behind the story of Toxic Shock.
Well, okay. Look. I know in the film festival, first of all, great job getting featured. I know a lot of people submitted, like hundreds. And when you got that call, what was that? Like, because of course you do something which a lot of filmmakers, I don't think they understand. You got to kind of like promote it. You kind of got to like send and then hope that someone makes a call and says, you know what, we want you a part of our festival. Did we lose her? Are we think her connection's either her connection or my connection. Okay, well, if you're just joining us right now, we're talking to Jamie Norrie. Her film actually is available right now. You can go check it out, and it'll start playing this Thursday. Again, the big feature is this Thursday, starting October 13th. You can get it at lafemme.eventive.org and then just /films, and you'll see all the great content right there. And again, her film is one of many which are actually available right now for anyone, everyone. We got Jamie there with us. Hopefully you're there with us. Sorry, we got disconnected, but the question is, what's that like being part of a festival that, you know, you put all your hard sweat, tears, and how long does this take to make?
This festival feels particularly special to have the opportunity to meet other filmmakers, see other great work online. Since I'm actually based in Canada at the moment, I'm in rural Canada, so that's why my connectivity might be a little bit not the best.
That's okay.
But yeah, when we started making this film in 2020. So that's when we had full COVID restrictions. There's actually only 10 people, including cast and crew, who made it, which was obviously a challenge for all of us making films during COVID. And that it's really great to see, even 2 years later, to still get Toxic Shock to reach its audiences around the world. And yeah, it feels really special. I'm really excited to see new audiences watch the film next weekend.
Well, and this film, again, you know, I'm making sure people go and they get it. You know, when they watch it, for example, and I can imagine, again, it's one of those things where you get to show people and they have like reaction. Again, you did this as a comedy. Do you love doing comedies? Are they like the thing that you want to do forever now, or are you going to be like, okay, I want to do something else?
Definitely. This was my first short film actor, and I think we're back. Okay, good. Yeah, so comedy was always something that I loved growing up, and this is my first chance to really give it a shot, and I think it just made me fall in love with it even more. And yes, I definitely want to keep working in comedy, romantic comedies. Yeah, a lot of that coming up.
Well, I love that you're doing this. I got to ask, and you know, I always say, you know, sometimes behind the scenes, there's more fun than, you know, the edit room. Was there anything that you like were like, oh man, I want to keep and I want to, you know, make it go next level?
There's so many bloopers, actually. The crew kept playing pranks on me throughout the whole process. So we have a ton of funny outtakes like that. But to be completely honest, we stayed pretty much on schedule and we shot everything that we knew we had to get done with all the requirements that we have.
Yeah, it's not fun during
yeah, overall, I think we kept what. Sorry?
No, go ahead. Go ahead.
Oh, sorry, I thought I cut you off. But yeah, I think it ended up, of course, with the process of filmmaking, a lot of the time it might not turn out exactly the way you wrote it, because I also wrote the script. But it was really nice to see it from the very beginning to the very end, and how it turned into, even though it's not my original idea, it wanted it to be. So.
Well, I can't wait to see it. I'm going to watch all the films all at once. There is an all access pass. You can actually get it. And I will say thank you so very much for bringing your film to us and saying, hey, you know, I want to be a part of something fun. I know there's going to be a lot of panels and there's going to be a lot of things that you can actually check out throughout the week. So thank you for, you know, adding this film to the great list of films all there on Eventive. Thank you very much. All right. More with all the filmmakers right after this. Stay tuned.
You know, in the beginning, all films were short.
It's not a charity. We're not here to help you. We're not here to help your cause. We're there to make our money make money.
It probably takes a year to 2 years to really start seeing money.
That title of executive producer on a feature is not the same as the title of executive producer on a television show. Don't give yourself a bad review before you start.
I'm sorry, I'm super awesome, and this is my pitch.
That's right. It is our time with Breton Tyner Bryan, who's got a really cool film, and it is special because it is said in a way that you got to say it right. So I'm not going to botch it up. How do you say it, Breton?
Good morning. It's a pleasure to be here. You say delusione, like delusional in Italian.
Yes. So delusione. I love that. And this is interesting. It's kind of like, okay, well, I understand it's a drama. That's number one. And it's it involves a lot. Can you talk about it?
Yeah, for sure. So it's about memory loss and dissociation in a romantic relationship between two people that revisit the location and walk through each other's memory to sort of have that moment of remembrance, and then they walk and pass on through. And it has kind of like a 1940s feel in terms of architecture, the style of the cinematography, and the costume and choreography.
Okay, now I can say right now I'm gonna love it. For those that are gonna want to like check it out, you know, especially on and I know like you know we're doing a different thing that we've done you know since last times because we used to have it at the theater and you know La Femme decided to do it this time on virtual, but really it kind of enables something that I think is really cool, which we can have a worldwide audience. So this audience that you want to see this, what do you want they to kind of like say, okay, at the end of this, I want to do, or I want to be?
I think it's about questioning what reality is and what perception is, and realizing that however many parties are involved, they each have their own unique story and perspective on what happened. There's some darker undercurrents to it as well about sort of, you know, who's manipulating whom into what the truth and reality is in a romantic relationship. So I think, you know, whether it's a romantic relationship or, you know, a friendship or a family member, I think we can all relate to situations like that.
Yeah, I completely understand that. Look, the film, I know, is this your first?
It's not my first film. This is probably, maybe my fourth or fifth.
Okay, so obviously, like having a film like this, I gotta imagine, you know, you get some pretty cool stuff, and then you get some pretty cool people along the way, and then the script. Who wrote the script, and like how was you know that whole process?
I wrote the script. To be transparent, we shot this film in 5 hours, so this was really run and gun. We did this very quickly, but I think the relationships built between the team members, like we'd all worked together before across the board. So I think that's what made us be able to do this so quickly. And I always create characters from wardrobe initially because I came out of theater in the ballet world. So the basis for this material somewhat is the dress. There's a red dress that I wear in this film. And I wore it on a red carpet like a few months before we shot this at La Jolla International Fashion Film Festival. And like, I didn't have a lot of time to grab an outfit for that award ceremony. And people were like, oh, we love this. It really looks like a character. And I looked around and I was like, oh, I need to bring this character to life. So the dress gave me a lot of inspiration, and as well as the location. So what people will notice is it's actually like a railroad space that we walk through the whole film shot through. So everything is quite linear, which gives it sort of a euphoric, but also like a creepy suspended feel. Like there's no windows, there's no other characters, there's no like real-time passing or crossing of any other indicators. So yeah, I think the dress was like the key inspiration to lead us into this character. And then the choreography is also material that I had created for stage and then adapted for camera for this production for Delusione.
Okay, I'm going to say first of all, I'm happy you brought it to the film festival. There's a lot of films that are going to be like joined in on this, and we can watch it internationally. Where are you tuning in from? It looks kind of cool where you're at.
So I had to sneak out of a screening across the street. So I'm actually at the Plaza Hotel in New York City. I don't live here. But this is right next door to a screening I had to go to. And so, yeah, I'm in like what feels like another abandoned bar speakeasy, which is very similar to the location where we shot Delusione.
Yeah, that's what it feels like. It feels like you're on location. You could say this is my next film, by the way. You know what I mean?
I mean, I'm sitting here. There's nobody here. There's like this amazing purple light, and there's a lot of beautiful woodwork. There's like burgundy velvet couches over there. So yeah, I kind of like frantically was like, I need a quiet space. Where can I go? And they sent me here.
Yeah, I love it. Okay, look, I know again, it takes let's put it this way. It takes a smart mind to figure out a script, right? It takes someone to say, I believe in you. And then it takes someone to say, here's the money. How is that? Because it's hard to get money sometimes for film.
Sure. I mean, this is a low budget film. People ask me what the budget for this film is. I tell them it's sweat. That's the currency. I myself and Emily Ulrich did all the editing for this, the coloring. I produced, directed, wrote it. I did the choreography. I act in it. I sourced all the team members. So I think, if you need to get something done, there's a way to do it without having like $1 million or plus budget. You have to be creative. You have to be scrappy. I think you also, it makes, if you have collaborators that unite on passion and that you have a shorthand you can connect with, that makes things a lot easier too. So I would say, with much respect and appreciation to Michael J. Burke, who's a cinematographer, to Faye Chow, to Emily Ulrich, we all made this film together.
Okay, that's always special whenever that happens. I will say this, whenever you have a film, it's always amazing when you pull a team and then you go, okay, what next? So obviously I got to ask, what's this leading to, or is this something that you want, like a second or a third, or how's this going to go?
Sure. I appreciate it. I mean, there's a bunch of projects in the works right now that are in post that also involve Faye as a composer. There's a pilot to series called I Dream of Hazel that I wrote and will direct, that Michael is the DP on as well. And I think like Delusione is like very specific. It's very 1940s while it has like universal themes to it, but it solidifies like my interest in time specific work. So there's a script I'm writing that's set in like 1968. There's stuff I'm also working on that's from 1885 to 1966. So I just love time specific films in terms of like, what's the dialogue? What was the behavior like? What's the music of that time? What's the wardrobe? And then to find like the humanity through time, that we all we generally experience the same emotions and trials and tribulations, regardless of where we're placed in time.
That makes sense. Okay, so I'm gonna obviously get to see it. I can see it on my TV device. Again, you're in New York, awesome. I'm in LA. Usually the La Femme Film Festival actually takes place in LA, but we've also been in New York as well. And then having that international thing where you can watch it anywhere. I don't know if you can watch it in China or Korea though, but I gotta say, again, this speaks to an audience, and sometimes there's an understanding and sometimes there's not. Do you want to talk about that? Because sometimes, whenever you see certain people in certain like worlds of their own, they kind of don't understand the other side of everything. Yeah,
absolutely. I mean, I think this film has no dialogue, and I think that's something that's really special and makes it universal and able to connect through people, through different cultures, different parts of the world, different ages, all kinds of backgrounds. And I think that's sort of the magic of dance. And so while this is more of like, dance has that element to communicate, what's going on with these two characters. I think relationships are universal in their, I'm like going to try not to curse on camera, in their challenges, and in their like power dynamics. And I think when you see that on screen, that's why I love film. It connects to people so immediately in terms of a visual experience that resonates with like a memory of theirs, or maybe I just came from a screening, like you're watching something that has nothing to do with you, but you find a piece that pulls at an emotion for you or resonates with your history. So I think there's that, but also we have the luxury that it happens to have dance instead of dialogue as a way to connect with people throughout the world. And, there's a very like seductive, pulling you in kind of 1940s noir element to this film that then reveals a much darker underbelly. And I think we have that hook in the beginning.
Okay, well, I'm looking forward to it. I know people can go get it right now. We'll bring that up here so that people can see. Again, you can get your tickets at lafemme.eventive.org/films. You can watch internationally. Again, I think your film is on, do you know what day it's featured?
I don't, not yet.
Okay. Either way, go get it right now. You'll check it out. And then, of course, people that want to follow more of what you're doing, where can they go?
You can always find me on Instagram, or like currently you can find me on Instagram at Brett and Tyner Bryan. We also have our production company, which is Brett and Follies NY, as in NY New York. And then finally there's Delusione _ the film _ has his own page on Instagram as well.
Okay, awesome. Well, I'm looking forward to it. And thank you very much again for bringing your film to the rest of La Femme Film Festival 2022. Thank you for spending time with us, Brendan.
Thank you. I'm so honored to be a part of the festival. Thanks for having me.
Thank you. Okay, more after this. That's right. Joining us right now is Kirsty Bell, the director of A Bird Flew In. And I can tell you right now, Kirsty, did a bird fly in anytime soon where you're at?
I'm actually sat in the car. It's all parked up, but we've got a family event this evening in the UK, so I'm getting ready to go out early. So I thought I could do this just before I went.
Okay, I love your accent. I'm sure you've heard it before. Where are you tuning in from?
I'm from the UK, but I'm from the northeast of England. I'm what we call a Geordie, which is people who are born within a certain mileage from the rivers of the Tyne in Newcastle upon Tyne. So and I'm considered to be a posh Geordie as well. So that's where the accent comes from.
Even better, even better. Okay. So your contribution this year, A Bird Flew In, I could say, first of all, for those that want to tune in, you can check the link below. It's lafemme.eventive.org/films. Your film, very interesting. Can you give people kind of a tie-in? Like, okay, it's about...
Okay. It is a film set with the background of the first lockdown in the UK when the pandemic hit us, when our then Prime Minister shut the country down on the 23rd of March 2020. However, it's not about the pandemic. It's about human emotion. It's about what happens when each of us is shut behind our own door in our own homes, and what happens. So the analogy is that when a wild bird may get caught in your home, is what does it do to try and get out? Does it panic? What chaos ensues? What emotion is that individual who's caught in their own home going through? So it follows 12 people who are linked through the fact that their film had to wrap the night that the lockdown happened, which is actually based on a true story. The characters aren't, but the actual, I suppose the reason why the film happens is because the film is shut down, and it follows our 12 characters through the following 10 weeks to June the 1st, 2020, and what happens to each of their relationships, either with themselves or with the other people involved. My character, Naomi, who's a producer, is as a producer in real life. She takes the film from the start all the way through to the finish.
All right, I can say this right now. Obviously, look, I'm looking forward to some pretty amazing things, and I'm looking forward to films like this because they really kind of, well, how did you shoot it? Like what was that like? How long did it take? What was the process? And then what happened when you were done?
So we didn't know there was going to be another lockdown. We thought it was it in the UK after the 1st of June 2020. It came about from me watching and having meetings on Zooms, and I was doodling and drawing characters, etc. Long story short, these characters were turned into the characters in A Bird Flew In by Dominic Wells, and we started to shoot on the 13th of July 2020. We were one of the first dramas. In fact, the Times said that we were the first drama to start shooting after the pandemic, and we inherited a lot of crew from Batman. They were all stood down because Robert Pattinson contracted COVID. So we were in a rare situation of unknown territory where we were shooting with new rules and regulations as we were going along, and we had to be super careful. The one thing that we didn't want was for there to be an outbreak of COVID while we were shooting, to lose the cast, to lose any of the crew, etc. So we were vigilant, and there was this great feeling of we're back at work as well. People who work in the film industry, I don't know whether people even are aware of it, who are outside of it, they were terribly hit by the pandemic. A lot of them are self-employed. There was not an awful lot of help for those people. And they were just all super pleased to be back at work. The actors were as well. The agents were super helpful in helping us cast the film. And it was an extremely positive experience. And then the edit, which was really weird because it was a lot of it was, you know, on a very distant basis on Zooms with small screens rather than on large screens to do that. And John Smith, who did Leaving Las Vegas and Sliding Doors, so an incredible pedigree. He was brilliant during the edit process, set up his own edit suite at home. And it was a very, very, very positive experience, but it was very much in the sort of, we've got to get this done, you know, this is something that we have to get finished. And I was asked a question the other week, you know, would you have made the film any different had you waited until the other lockdowns had happened? I said, no, we didn't know the lockdowns were going to happen. We thought that was it. You know, we were reflecting on something that we thought that was the end. So there was a different, there may be a completely different perspective if we hadn't believed that. Yeah. So it was a good experience, but a very difficult experience as well.
Well, I'm glad you brought it up. Sometimes people don't understand, especially here in the home front, you know, of LA and, you know, California and the US. Some think we're over it. I'm not going to lie. What's your experience with it there?
With the pandemic, one thing I do know, I had my husband was actually stuck with his son abroad, so I was completely on my own with the dog, and I honestly believe that doing the film and creating and designing the film during lockdown was my savior. It gave me an output. It gave me a reason why or a reason to. And I think the more people I speak to have similar kind of experiences. And my friend in Canada, one of my lifelong friends, Tanya, said to me, just you, she said, you've got to make a film. She said, I just learned how many rungs to go up on Candy Crush. You know, it's like, but I said, well, that's what you decided to do in your lockdown. You know, everybody's decided to do different things. Some people decided to get fit. Some people decided to write. Some people decided to be super organized. Some people decided to do nothing. And it doesn't really matter. We all decided to do what we wanted to do. I think it was a terribly fearful time, you know. I was discussing this with my husband, you know. In any time in history, would you imagine that you stayed indoors because somebody told you you had to stay indoors?
No,
it's like the bizarrest period of history ever.
Yeah, it is. Well, I'm glad you made the film. It's called A Bird Flew In. You can check it out. You can go get tickets right now, lafemme.eventive.org/films. You can check out all of that.
Hello.
And yes, we can hear you. Sorry, there's a connection problem. You kind of froze on us, but we got everything that you just said. All right, I think we lost her a little. All right, so we got more right after this. Stay tuned. Our next filmmaker, we're really excited about this. We're going to be talking about something that some people are going to want to understand, especially when it comes to a true story. Ooh, coming up next.
You know, in the beginning, all films were short.
It's not a charity. We're not here to help you. We're not here to help your cause. We're there to make our money make money.
It probably takes a year to 2 years to really start seeing money.
That title of executive producer on a feature is not the same as the title of executive producer on a television show.
Don't give yourself a bad review before you start.
I'm sorry, I'm super awesome, and this is my pitch.
Joining us right now is someone that I will say I'm excited for, because Lauren, you got something going on right now that I say, whoa, a true story. Those are hard to find, but especially when it comes to someone who's very close to you. Can you talk about that?
Yes. Hi, good morning. So my story is about my son's traumatic birth. So at 30 weeks pregnant, I had abdominal hemorrhaging that led to an emergency C-section that led to 2 months in the NICU, where my son got a hospital-borne infection and almost died.
Oh, God.
So I would say this to a group of moms in a mother support group, and they would all look at me like you are. like in shock. And I would say, no, that was my exact birth plan. So through humor, I was able to tell this traumatic birth story of my son, and started to find healing through that. And then during the pandemic, which is when I taught myself how to animate, I animated this true story. And my husband had this like great idea that you should animate it, which I thought was pretty bizarre. Like, why would I animate something that was so hard, but yet made total sense as I was doing it, because it gave it levity and it became more abstract and funny. And I found healing through it. And I'm hoping for other mothers and people who go through postpartum and, debilitating anxiety and the NICU can also find levity and hope and comfort in watching it as well.
Well, okay. And I did see a bit of the trailer and I thought, whoa, that's pretty good animation. Especially for someone learning. I'm not going to lie. I'm actually working on a script right now that's going to be animated, and I got the voices ready to go, at least a few. But that process, being able to say, okay, first of all, you got a supportive partner. Great job, by the way. Very few people have that during coronavirus. Some people split up. Some people split up. Some people find you, and they're like, forget that. They kind of lost it during COVID. But with you have a very personal story. And again, I'm glad you brought this up because you really connect with other. Well, let's put it this way. What's been the result of you showing it the way you have so far before La Femme?
Before La Femme, I've been doing the festival circuit, and I would say it's been very rewarding to hear mothers come up and say, I can't believe that you captured how I felt. It's so empowering. They also say, I can't believe you taught yourself how to animate, which is like very, like kind of a fun thing to hear.
Exactly.
Because it was like this, like a little new secret treasure to find that something that you love so much, in so many different career paths I've had, to say, oh, I love this. This is super rewarding, super tedious, really hard.
How long did it, because I think every person out there that has an animated says, okay, first of all, how do you start? How do you go through it? And then how do you complete it? Because some people start and then they never complete. I'll give you an example. I started, I think in my 20s, Maya. It was a 3D modeling program. And I modeled, I think, Angelina Jolie as a model because I was trying to figure out, and all the vertices and all that. I'm like, this is hard. I needed a class for it. So what did you do to get started?
So the first thing I would say before you even animate is you have to have a solid story. So that's the part that I had my story and I had done it so many. I performed it with Maternal Mental Health Now. I performed it with Jewish Women's Theater. The story was there so that it was solid. And then I made it into a story where there were other characters besides me just telling the story. So that needs to be real solid, your script. Okay. Then, I would say that there are many programs out there that are available. So you're not I was not drawing, but I had to teach myself how to do an animated program. So there's different programs that you can do, and it's tedious. And, but I would say patience. And I would say just know it's going to take a while. I mean, I also I have to say it was in line with passion. So I would do it I would think about it all the time. I would wake up at 6 a.m. when the kids are still sleeping and think about how can I make that little bit better? How can I make them walk faster? Or how could I show debilitating anxiety where the floor comes under me? And that's how it feels. The floor is not there when you have anxiety. So how can I make it drop and that I'm floating? So then you just, figure it out, Aaron.
Well, I love that you did. How long is it, by the way?
It's 22 minutes. And
that's a lot for an animated.
I would say I a little bit wish I could have made it shorter, but it is already shorter. I've already.
But I feel like story. Disney and Pixar need to kind of go, okay, can we hire you and your team of you? You know what I mean?
No. No, this was great. And I think in a dream scenario, there will be a series about, a mother support group is what I'm working on next, that I will have a team that works with me. Because it's hard. And, so that's the next piece. That's the next thing I would like to do with this project. Motherhood is hard. I'm hiding it, but I'm sick right now. And the show has to go on when you have kids, you just got to keep going. And I wanted to meet Aaron Sanchez. So, that's what I did today.
Well, I appreciate that. Thank you. Thank you for bringing your everything to us. Well, look, you're inspiring a lot of people. I had a conversation with a young one, and I said, look, if you have it in your head, get it out. That's number one, right? You did that. And then the thing that I don't think people do is they kind of workshop that, meaning like sometimes in theater they do that because they want to see the reaction, right? And I said to someone, it's not hard to do that when you think about it, like you do it in a play format, and then you see what goes next. But this has really resonated with people, and I think that's the part where you're taking it next, which I say, wouldn't it be cool if somebody said, hey, we're going to put our team behind this, and we want to make it like, in another language where people are having it over here, maybe like India or because it's a universal topic. And when we talk about the NICU, right? And I know a couple people who have had that experience. Single people, especially us men, we don't get that. But say it for like the average person, maybe a little one who say, oh, wow, you went through some really bad stuff.
Yeah, I would say it was the hardest, most traumatizing experience I've ever had in my whole life. I mean, it's, to talk about the pandemic in one way of like all of us having this universal feeling of not being in control. So this was this times 1,000, because minute to minute, I didn't know if my son would make it. So you're relying on, the doctors, the nurses, but also what was so empowering and why I like, finding this in my story and animating this short is like, I had to empower myself. Like I became the biggest advocate for my son. And so that I would say was the most validating piece of figuring this or finding my story was, wow, you really had to advocate for yourself, for your son, for your family, and you didn't know if he'd make it.
Yeah.
And finding that strength is like, that's deep in your core. That's like, you don't know you have it.
You don't. Yeah. And you don't know, when you're going through it, you don't know that you're going to tell it the way you did. So I'm glad, look, your child, how's ever since, like, what's the result of that?
He's 4. He's fine. I mean, currently has a terrible cold, but overall, like really fine. And I'm lucky because that's not always the case. And so I'm sensitive to that as well. Mine, we walked out of there and he's more than fine, and he's 4, but that also shows you, this took me a second, right? This is 4 years later. This is not, you got to process trauma. I mean, because it's got to also be funny. I mean, it really and truly, I know it's hard.
I can make it fun, guarantee it. Well, it's called Super Scar. I know we're running out of time.
Super Scar, yes.
Yeah, Super Scar. It's your true story about the birth of your son, who now, thank God, he survived, but you did an animated thing. I think you should do more. I'm just saying, or get a team to say, hey, this is what I did. This is how soon I did it. And this is how you could do it. So I think you should be on one of the panels coming up in the coming years. Okay.
I can't wait, Aaron. Thank you so much for having me.
Thank you, Lauren. Thank you. And
really
thanks for everything that you bring to the film festival. All right. Get your tickets right now. It's available. Just click on the little link. There it is. lafemme.eventive.org/films. We'll be right back right after this.
In the beginning, all films were short.
It's not a charity. We're not here to help you. We're not here to help your cause. We're there to make our money make money.
It probably takes a year to 2 years to really start seeing money.
That title of executive producer on a feature is not the same as the title of executive producer on a television show.
Because what you're seeing on television right now is history in terms of where decisions are being made today.
Don't give yourself a bad review before you start.
I'm sorry, I'm super awesome, and this is my pitch.
What are recommendations for packaging?
Getting to the right person at the right time, and you have the right piece of the package that they want to see.
And be able to adjust, because the plan will never execute exactly as you plan it.
If you set aside money for social media, for a publicist, for marketing, things like that, and really, you don't have to sit behind those dollars, and you can have more control of your own release.
You can't go wrong. As for me, I knew that my episode was either going to be awesome or fine. That's the risk you take.
Joining us right now is someone, I should say, a couple of someone's, including someone getting behind the scenes with us pretty soon. We got Devin and Jean Scott. Also, we got Susanna there. Thank you for making a contribution to the film festival. I'm so glad it was selected. It's called Libertyville, which is a dramedy short about something. I'll let you guys say what it is. Who wants to speak first?
Sue wants to speak about it.
It's a true story from my childhood of my family's weekly pilgrimage to picnic on Grandpa's grave. I'm a first-generation American, and my grandparents are Serbian immigrants. So when my grandfather died, although my grandmother didn't treat him particularly kindly in life, in death, he became a hero. And we had to go camp out on his grave every weekend for about 2 years. So though these trips to the cemetery made me miserable, I could always appreciate the unintended comedy of my family and always wished I had a movie camera. So 40 years later, with the help of my friends, Jeannie and Devin Scott, that dream came true. We recreated that story.
Well, you bring up something important, kind of like, sometimes people go, I don't think people would believe if, like, and you wish they were there, but they were not. And then when you put it out there, they're like, that couldn't have happened, right? Did that happen to you guys? Like, did you think that?
Yeah. Go ahead, Sue.
No one. I mean, in the beginning, there's a title card that says this is a true story, unfortunately. But people still think, oh, that's a joke. So no one ever thought that it was real. They like, oh, that's pretty clever. And then when I reinforce that it's real, they can't believe it.
Yeah, and I love it because the headline says, at an Orthodox cemetery in the Midwest, 11-year-old Susanna, that's you, contends with her immigrant grandmother, tyranny, as the family makes their weekly pilgrimage to picnic on Grandpa's grave. Come for the grief, stay for the show. Okay, I gotta say right now, this is something that I think is something we need to watch. And look, putting a team together like you guys, Devin, Jean, what was this like?
Yeah, it was a lot of fun, actually. Yeah.
It was right in the middle of the pandemic, and we just really lucked out because we shot at the cemetery in San Diego, and it was perfect conditions, and they were so open. It was not hard as far as locations go, not hard to do at all, surprisingly. So we just had the cards in our favor.
Yeah, I'm looking at the show. Sorry, I'm so sorry. It came up like real loud, and I'm like, okay, I got it. Because it looks amazing, by the way. And there it is. Look, you guys did some really good stuff on this, and it looks fun. It looks like something that look at those kids. Like, okay, look, this type of thing with Serbia. What is it that people don't understand about Serbia or Serbians?
Well, often, I mean, when I was growing up, people never even heard of Serbs. They would say, "Oh, you're from Siberia." No, I'm not. Beyond that, I mean, we're not too different from any Slavic culture. But then even the film, Aquafina, where her Chinese grandmother is dying, they had a scene at a cemetery where they were leaving tokens behind on the grave of the loved one, food and cigarettes. And that was just it just made me see that we're all the same. We're not that different.
That makes sense. Look, Jean and Devin, I know you got more to say. What is it about like this film that you go, okay, it's gonna be a thing that people are gonna want to see like again and again?
Yeah, because it's a true story. I think it's a story that I think will resonate with people that have lost loved ones and families and things you wish you had said. And I think it's a really I think it's a feel good story, a feel good brother and sister moments in there. I don't know, it's really I love it. I think it's great.
Well, I can see that you guys work well together. It's hard to find that sometimes. Sometimes when people put like anything out there, they go, okay, what's going to be like the result, right? What is it you all are hoping for from this film?
Well, I think we were hoping for it to look like the period it was shot in, it was meant to be in, and I think we did a really good job of that. Sue did fantastic with the wardrobe. Everything is pretty much authentic, and she brought all her, decorations from home that she had to put on the walls and make it really look very, very authentic and believable. And the actors, speaking fluent Serbian was, except for the kids, they learned their Serbian in the rehearsals, but everybody was really authentic. So that's what we wanted.
Susanna, I feel like you have more with you that you can talk about, like this, experience.
Well, you said we work really well together. I just wanted to add that we met 30 years ago. Mm-hmm. I was a voice talent on one of their projects, and we just, became friends over the years. So then when the whole world was shut down during the pandemic, I had written a short story about these cemetery trips. So that became the perfect opportunity to, okay, let's turn it into a short film and film it. So we go back 30 years. That's why we work so well together.
Yeah, when we go, let's just do it. And they go, okay, well, let's pick a date. And then we just worked backwards from there, and it just all fell together.
The pandemic actually really helped because all of our A-list crew that we usually like to work with were available because they were all, sitting at home. And because we're shooting outdoors most of the time, it wasn't that difficult. I mean, we all had the masks and the protocol, and the actors walking around with these funny plastic things. Shields, we had shields on their face. It was pretty funny, but we pulled it off. And I think out of the 30 years that we've been working together, Sue, this was the first time that we had a production where there was no issues, no problems. Everything went perfectly, which never happens on a production. Yep. There was a big wildfires in California that week, and which made this nice soft haze in the air. So, our lighting was beautiful and perfect. It was just karma, I think, to make it happen.
Well, I think you did it at a time that I always say, look, man, they're doing nothing right now, right? I mean, there's still I'm waiting for the big, there's some feature, and then there's La Femme, which says, hey, why don't you enjoy some film at home on your device, on your TV? It's very simple. Get the Eventive. It's right there. If you click on the link, we'll bring it up here right now so you can see it. It's the 18th annual La Femme International Film Festival, and it really has gone international, especially with this, because you can view from anywhere. So that's really cool, being a part of something that could be seen anywhere, including Serbia. I think in Serbia, can Serbianites get it? Is that a thing?
I hope so.
Are they going to shoot me?
Serbianites, I don't know.
Yeah, it screened in Chicago in a kind of a Serbian area, right, Sue? And it went over really well.
The Chicago Serbian Film Festival, absolutely, because they understood the reality of this. I mean, they were just laughing uproariously, whereas American audiences, I think sometimes they don't know what to make of it. Is this... Maybe if it is true, I don't want to mock, I don't want to laugh because maybe laughing, it's at a cemetery, but it's all good.
You're saying it's okay to laugh as long as we don't get shot. I got it. Okay. All right. Well, we run out of time. Again, you guys can check it out. Get your tickets right now. It's available. Thank you very much, each and every one of you, for spending time with us, and congratulations on your next feature film.
We're thrilled to be in the festival. Thank you.
Thank you. All right. We'll see you later. More after this.
in the beginning, all films were short.
It's not a charity. We're not here to help you. We're not here to help your cause. We're there to make our money make money.
It probably takes a year to 2 years to really start seeing money.
That title of executive producer on a feature is not the same as the title of executive producer on a television show.
Because what you're seeing on television right now is history in terms of where decisions are being made today.
Don't give yourself a bad review before you start.
I'm sorry, I'm super awesome, and this is my pitch.
What are recommendations for packaging?
Getting to the right person at the right time, and you have the right piece of the package that they want to see.
And be able to adjust, because the plan will never execute exactly as you plan it.
If you set aside money for social media, for a publicist, for marketing, things like that, and really you don't have to sit behind those dollars and you can have more control of your own release.
You can't go wrong. For me, I knew that my episode was either going to be awesome or fine. That's the risk you take.
In the beginning, all films were short.
It's not a charity. We're not here to help you. We're not here to help your cause. We're there to make our money make money.
It probably takes a year to 2 years to really start seeing money.
That title of executive producer on a feature is not the same as the title of executive producer on a television show.
Because what you're seeing on television right now is history in terms of where decisions are being made today.
Don't give yourself a bad review before you start.
I'm sorry, I'm super awesome, and this is my pitch.
What are recommendations for packaging?
Getting to the right person at the right time, and you have the right piece of the package that they want to see.
And be able to adjust, because the plan will never execute exactly as you plan it.
If you set aside money for social media, for a publicist, for marketing, things like that, and really you don't have to sit behind those dollars and you can have more control of your own release.
You can't go wrong. For me, I knew that my episode was either going to be awesome or fine. That's the risk you take.
In the beginning, all films were short.
It's not a charity. We're not here to help you. We're not here to help your cause. We're there to make our money make money.
It probably takes a year to 2 years to really start seeing money.
That title of executive producer on a feature is not the same as the title of executive producer on a television show.
Because what you're seeing on television right now is history in terms of where decisions are being made today.
Don't give yourself a bad review before you start.
I'm sorry, I'm super awesome, and this is my pitch.
What are recommendations for packaging?
Getting to the right person at the right time, and you have the right piece of the package that they want to see.
And be able to adjust, because the plan will never execute exactly as you plan it.
If you set aside money for social media, for a publicist, for marketing, things like that, and really you don't have to sit behind those dollars and you can have more control of your own release.
You can't go wrong. For me, I knew that my episode was either going to be awesome or fine. That's the risk you take.
If you're just joining us, I want to say thank you. Again, we are going to have some really cool filmmakers coming up in just a minute. We've got a few actually getting ready to go around the corner too. But I will say this. If you have the ability to go and get right now tickets, then I highly recommend it. Here it is. You can check out all of the great stuff right there at the 18th annual La Femme International Film Festival. There are so many great films that you can get. You can get your tickets right now, lafemme.eventive.org/films. It'll actually be on demand all throughout the festival, each and every one of these films. And I can tell you, there's a lot. There's some great films. There's some great features. There's some great documentaries. There's just some great everything. And you're going to love each and everything that you see, especially when you see it all come together. So check that out. That's coming up around the corner. We'll have a quick break right here. We'll be right back right after this. Stay tuned.
In the beginning, all films were short.
It's not a charity. We're not here to help you. We're not here to help your cause. We're there to make our money make money.
It probably takes a year to 2 years to really start seeing money.
That title of executive producer on a feature is not the same as the title of executive producer on a television show.
Don't give yourself a bad review before you start.
I'm sorry, I'm super awesome, and this is my pitch.
In the beginning.
Joining us right now is someone who actually did a really good film. It's called Wax and Wane. It's actually a very serious topic and something that a lot of people are talking about right now. Good morning. Welcome to the show, Beatty.
Good morning, Aaron. How are you doing?
I'm doing good, but this film, I think, I can't wait to see. And it's an interesting topic. It says this: at the dawn of Mid-Autumn Day, when secluded immigrant Wu, how do you say that last name?
Wu Sui.
Wu Sui is urged to remove her birth control ring implanted 20 years ago under China's one-child policy. A lot of people don't know about that, but it's something that's happened for quite some time. Can you kind of speak about what that is and why it's so important to kind of understand that, especially now when everyone's going, hey, by the way, what happened to birth control?
So it happened in the 80s, China. So the government, in order to have a better control of the the blooming population in China at the time, so they kind of just had this mandate to ask women to only have one child in their lifetime. And so after they give birth to one child, they're kind of asked to put on this birth control ring, which is metal made. So quite unlike the IUDs you will see in Western countries right now. So basically just go to a surgery, go through a very simple surgery to put them on. But it could be a little disturbing for some of the Chinese women who want more children in their life, or just in general, just they have to be just to get used to having such a device, and especially after the menopause, they will just go through the same thing again to do this simple surgery and take the ring out of their body. So this story just starts right off from there, just after the mother being menopause. So she kind of has to grapple with the past she had, and also being in Chinese immigrant family in the US also mean a lot for her to just to just trying to deal with that immigrant diaspora. The story is about that, and that's the background of what happened in China, sort of.
Well, I love that you did this, Beatty, and I understand, again, even though it's a short, it really can be something that could be, well, let's put it this way. It's kind of a thing that people need to talk about, because women's ability to give birth or to give life has kind of been, in a way, a big topic here, especially sometimes either the lack of it or too much of it, like when people get raped, right? But your topic is something that I think a lot of people kind of forget about, which is when you want some, you're mandated, no, you can't have. what some people don't understand that. What part of the world are you in right now?
I'm in Los Angeles right now. So yeah, I feel like it's quite the opposite what happened in the US and what used to happen in China. Is in the opposite sides, but it just have come from a quite common area of just the authority. Like a bigger authority could have great control of women's bodies. So yeah, I just found some like similarities there, of course. Yeah.
Well, and again, you talk about a very important topic, but the way you shot this, by the way, what was it like putting this together? Because it shot very well.
Yeah. So we are both basically just composed of female filmmakers, like the producers, the main cast, and the cinematographer, the sound designer. Yeah, we're all just female. We're all women, and I brought a lot of my personal stories into this, like because of the international like costume shutdown during the pandemic. My mother actually went to do this surgery on her own while I was in the US, and my father was actually in Wuhan.
Oh wow.
Yeah. So that actually just stood out to me a lot because that wasn't common. And my mom is usually a very tough character who can just deal with any problems she encountered and people. But that just hit me really well because I can totally sympathize with her as a woman, as a grown woman now. And since I just grew apart from her for so long in the US, so yeah, so I feel really connected with her after she told us she had done this surgery without telling us in advance. So that's the moment when I was like, yeah, if I have to make a film right now, that's something I want to make because it's personal and relevant.
Well, I'm glad you did. I'm glad you brought it to the Femme Film Festival. It's definitely a topic that kind of hits home with a lot of people. And I think for people that don't understand it happens, I had a conversation the other day. And I said, sometimes you're kind of in a bubble here. You know what I mean? And you forget what it's like around the world. I know China's been a hot topic right now. I got to ask, do you have family there?
I have family in China, in the US or China.
Do you have any family in overseas?
Overseas? Of course. My whole family are from China. I grew up there. I grew up in Beijing. And yeah, I'm the only one here. Like I'm a foreigner here in the States. Yeah.
And I think people don't really appreciate fully what that means when it says, okay, let's do a film. Let's do it with people I don't know or people I do know along the way, because it kind of feels like an island when you're separated from your fam. Are you planning on making like a trip anytime soon there, or, saying, hey, maybe you guys can come visit?
Yeah, definitely. So because I just graduated from USC, the MFA film production program last year, and I'm just trying very hard to try to make a living here as a filmmaker in the US. So after I get this visa, I bet a lot of people could be struggling with that right now, actually.
Yeah.
But I'm gonna try my best, and once I get the visa, I can just visit back to China and just actually spend some quality time, which is overdue for so long. And so that's what I'm working on. And Wax and Wayne was definitely one of my major achievements so far. So I really hope people will be able to see it to understand better about like what's happening in the other side of the world, and just we're all together in a way.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, I know we've run out of time. I want to say thank you very much for spending time with us. And again, for those that want to check it out, you can do so right now. It's right there available on just type in lafemme.eventive.org/films. You'll see it right there. Wax and Wane is what it's called. Really shot well. And I can't wait to see more from you.
Thank you so much, Aaron. Thank you for having me. Thank you, Love for me. Yeah, hope to see you in person someday.
Yeah, I'm here in LA. We'll make sure to meet. How about that? Maybe over some I'm sure there's some good food in your area. We'll meet soon.
Yeah, let's make it happen.
All right. More right after this.
All right, sounds good, Aaron.
Joining me right now is Sabine Crossan. Sabine, I understand you got some really good stuff here. Welcome to Candies. We just threw up a bunch of stuff about social media. There's stuff on social media that I say, man, they got to make you did exactly that. Can you talk about it?
Hi, Aaron. Thanks for having me on. Yeah, social media, we're all into it. Look at us now. I mean, Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, TikTok, it's like part of our lives now. So Welcome to Candies is a satire on that and how far we can go to get more likes. And that sort of, the likes are actually a way of looking for love as well.
Well, I like the description. Sometimes people don't take enough time on what they say, but I got to read it if you don't mind. It says, like in a fairy tale, it only took one glance for Etienne. Well, how do you say your name?
Oh, so the actor's name is Etienne.
Etienne. Okay.
The character. Yeah.
Yeah, I'll start over. Like in a fairy tale, it only took one glance for Etienne to fall head over heels in love with Candy. When she invites him home for a drink, he discovers that this pretty influencer with a vivid imagination, we all know them, by the way, did not invite him just by chance. Yikes. But is Etienne ready to play Candy's strange little game? Okay, what kind of game are we talking about?
You did that very well. What little game? Well, she actually discovers it to herself. She doesn't exactly know what she's going to do, but when she meets him in their first meeting, and he's like, he's so intrigued by her appearance, he's like going to light a cigarette, but he's actually burning his hand at the same time. And she notices that his distraction for her is so much stronger than the pain that he's feeling, and she knows at that moment that what she's looking for is in him. So she invites him home. They meet, and then things go a bit kooky. Very
okay. Cookie is good. Cookie is
Cookie's good.
Yeah, let's put it this way. Cookie is fun, right? And I think you poke fun at some things in this, which I think is smart. I understand, even though it's a short, it looks. I mean, the poster itself looks like it should be something like mainstream. Does that make sense?
Yeah, it is. We had an amazing set designer, Anne Sabel. She was nominated for an Oscar on Woody Allen's Midnight in Paris. I had a fabulous DOP, Nicolas Beauchamp, and we had really a lot of people that had experience and had desires to make something quite mainstream as well together. So it's kind of like Disney meets Gore with a lot of action. So the actors as well, they were working with Gregory Lofredo. So he's a stunt coordinator, and they won the award for the last James Bond film. So they worked on stunts for like 6 months prior to shooting together. I don't know if this happens in the States, but hi, I'm from Paris, France at the moment. So they do a lot of
even better. we have people over there right now trying to make it on the broadcast. You got to do a big shout out to Rebecca Traub, who's visiting over there. You should hook up with her. Seriously, she's a producer.
Put us in contact with each other. So
easy breezy.
From what I've heard in the States, you can't really do short films for free, but in France, a lot of people get together to make short films out of passion. So the money that you have is to put into food, catering, set design, costumes, and everything. And people come together and they work for free.
Okay, hold on. Okay, you're telling me something that I'm thinking, okay, I need to come and do. Wait, I can go to Paris. I can visit. I've never visited, by the way. I need to go.
Visit.
and I could pull a team together. I know our other guy Adam. He's like, wait, what? How? What? I don't even.
I know.
I think you're selling a wife's tale. I think you're promoting Paris. Oui, oui.
Because the French are fantastically in love with art and making movies since such a long time, and there's something here. And the culture was, I mean, I really understand the American side as well. You know, you can't make art without money, and there's a sort of business side to it, which is important for us to understand as well. But people still get together here to make films, even if we don't necessarily have the budget. It's just to get stuff done. It's like the kinos. Do you have kinos in the States? Like the kino pop, so people come together and like they make a film in 24 hours.
You know how much they charge for? Oh wait, you mean kinos like lighting or kinos?
No,
like...
it's called a kino here. So they're all over Europe now, and people get together like for 2 or 3 days, and they just make a movie in 24 hours or a week, and they're called kinos, and everybody comes in, no one's paid, and then they just put teams together and they make movies.
Yeah,
so
they do that with students. They do that with students, but they don't do that like, okay, Sabine, we're gonna get together, man. I got like a feature, and then I got an animated flick that I'm working on, and I'm like, shoot, I should just put it there, man. Okay, look, but you say something that's very interesting, and then you say, and I would say this, it's cool to do it like that because you find people that want to do it for the love of it, right? But then at the end of the day, everybody's got to eat, right? So you got to get like, here, it's tacos and it's cervezas, okay? You get Coronas. You're good to go with some, not all, right? And some people are like, dude, I can barely pay gas because gas is expensive here, okay? But there, you talk about the love of film. And I love that because we've lost that here. I'm not going to lie. Some people can't even hire anymore because I'm like, God, you're like asking for like, you know, with money where it's at, people are like, so I think you did it at a good time, Sabine. And I think you should hold on to those people, especially when you have the money, because some people don't talk about this, the business side of it, how to get distribution, because other than La Femme, which shows it on, you know, everybody's like TV, which is good because it gets you out there. It gets like your people out there and the crew out there and the people that participate. Yeah. It's like, hey guys, you can check it out on your TV device if you have a smart TV, right? And you can get your tickets right now at La Femme. But I got to ask, what is next for the team if you do have money?
We do pay them? No, but I mean, we cover expenses, and we don't just do tacos and stuff like that. We have like vegan, vegetarian.
Tacos are good. Don't talk them down. Okay, you would love the tacos
vegan,
here.
Vegetarian. We look after our crew so well, and so it's. But what I do love about it is that, if, for example, I never shot action before, and I'm Bienvenue chez Candy, welcome to Candice. I had to shoot action, and it takes so long, even if we did a lot of training before it. So the crew, because they were there for passion, if I was going overboard an hour, and I'm sorry, then they wouldn't be, you know, really worried about it because we're all there together. So it was really, really healthy as well at the same time, you know.
Well, I say a great time to visit Paris, you know, and France.
Oh my God, I was going to think we don't do anything for money. No, money is important, and looking after your cast and crew is essential.
It is. But you know, I'm glad you're talking about something that, again, I always say, you know, back in the day before film was kind of a biz, it was done just, hey, let's shoot something. You had a camera, you shot it.
Let's get it done instead of waiting 6 years.
Yeah. And if you're not doing anything, you might as well do that. And then you get the big, like, you know, Warner Brothers or Paramount going, you know what? I want to. Yeah, I'll give you an example. Somebody over here by the name of Cheech Marie, I just had a conversation with him. He's a pretty big actor and he's been in a lot of film. But he said, look, we're going to do something that other people haven't done. We're going to make it for $7,000 a film, because that's what one guy did. His name Robert Rodriguez did. But again, I think your way is even better, because then you could be like, hey, we can also make money with distribution on video devices as streaming. There's Amazon, there's Hulu. There's so many new devices that need content. Can we bring the content to that too?
Yeah, it would be great. We were really lucky though, because Welcome to Candice has been going to quite a lot of festivals, and we got distribution here only in France for the moment with Origin Films as well. So that's helping to give back already to the producers that co-produced with me, Gregory Bollac and Francois Boucher. So yeah, we've been very lucky with the film as well. And then when the film is being seen by so many people, it helps your actors to be seen by the film directors, by the producers. It helps people to see your crew. So I am people coming to me and say, "Oh God, your image is so beautiful. Who's your DOP?" And then I can put them in contact, and that gives them work as well. Because you know, it's all about networking in your cinema family you're building. Yeah. So when you know that these people are with you for the love of the project, and you can count on them, then you want to have them with you on your feature films and on your series.
I love it, Sabine. I say congratulations on that. I can't wait to visit France. Yeah, I think the tourism industry is gonna be like, okay, good job. We're gonna go and pay you nothing. No, I'm just kidding. So good job on everything you're doing. Great. Thank you for bringing it here to La Femme. We can't wait to watch it. It's right there available for you to see. Welcome to Candies. Looks amazing. It may be a short, but it's done free. So we'll talk about that another time. Thank you, Sabine.
Bonsoir. Merci beaucoup.
Merci beaucoup.
You know, in the beginning, all films were short.
It's not a charity. We're not here to help you. We're not here to help your cause. We're there to make our money make money.
It probably takes a year to 2 years to really start seeing money.
That title of executive producer on a feature is not the same as the title of executive producer on a television show.
Don't give yourself a bad review before you start.
I'm sorry, I'm super awesome, and this is my pitch.
A small dream is what it's about, and joining me is not a small team at all. It takes a bunch of people to put it all together, and I love this because you're all women that have something to say on this film, and I understand we've got Iman Al-Sabad. Did I get that right?
Yeah, that's correct.
Sarah, I'm going to let you say your last name. I didn't know I brought it up.
That's correct. Sarah.
Sarah. Okay, and your last name?
Al-Shahi.
Al-Shahi. Okay, and Shifa?
Shifa, yeah.
Shifa. Got it. Okay, pronunciation on the Okay, so all three of you and a great big team obviously came together on this, and I will say it's something that let's put it this way: a lot of people are having conversation, right? And they're going, okay, what is it about the world that we live in? A Small Dream. Tell me what it's about.
It's basically about a woman's dream to go to the beach. And it sounds like something mundane, sounds like something small, but in that film, in those 15 minutes, we show some social obstacles that our character is having within that conservative community, where there's no such law, but it's more like a social law. It's more of like it's not the norm. So yeah, that's the story.
Well, and it's something that we're talking about here in the States right now. That's why I say how appropriate, right? And it's weird. I kid you not. If like I talk to Leslie right now, I'd be like, it's so weird. The films that you usually have are like telling of the time that we're living in. Whereas if it happened in a different time, people wouldn't understand. But can you guys talk about kind of the world we're living in and why this film needs to be seen?
In the process of making this film, to be honest, I had my doubts because I was like, it's something I personally went through where I was like always searching for a private spot to be by the beach. And, we're in this modern world and in a country like UAE where we have a lot of freedoms, where we can study what we want, we can work where we want. But there are those little freedoms that I always wonder about. And I always tend to make those, big characters that have big obstacles. But then I thought, what about those little dreams? What about that little thing one person wants to do, but they have some social fears, some anxieties, some obstacles, people's gazing at them. I guess I wanted to open a conversation about safe spaces, specifically safe spaces for women in the Gulf region and by the beach specifically.
Thank you for saying that, because that's been the topic of the town, right? A lot of people are talking about that. Iman, I know you want to say something about that.
Yeah, I was just going to add to what Sarah just mentioned. I think one of the what we're trying to portray here is one of the obstacles that we face as women as part of the Middle East, and it's not necessarily that very outwardly specific type of how women are seen, but it's more kind of insidious and more kind of nuanced. So no one will be kind of specifically sexist towards a woman, but there will be things that you will see and you will feel when you're walking around or when you're experiencing something like our main character has experienced.
Well, and I think, and I got to bring up, kind of the way it's said here. I'm going to kind of briefly put it together. In a conservative society, the main character has a small and seemingly simple dream of swimming in the sea that she frequents, but there's something with that when it comes to like Well, I'll let Shifa or Shifa. What was that kind of for you? Like, having taken on that role and kind of giving it, the whole thing.
Honestly, when Iman and Sarat both reached out to me about this role, and the first thing I could think of was my own experience. Really, I related to it so much. It's such a simple thing, swimming in the sea. And when you're a young girl, when you're a kid, you get to swim in the sea all the time and hang out with your siblings and your family, and it's just such an easy thing to do. And then you grow up, and all of a sudden, those spaces become forbidden to you, and that's not something that anyone wrote into law, that you can't swim in the sea. It's just an unspoken law, sort of, as Sarat spoke about. So I related to it so much. It was so easy to play that character, really. It felt very real, and I felt every moment of me being in the sea, especially wearing a abaya, and just being around. It was a public beach. It was the beach that Sarat grew up in, grew up near. So it felt very real. And I felt every moment of it, really, just the freedom and the feeling that comes with achieving that very, very small dream.
Well, and I love it. It looks well, by the way, well done. How long is this film?
It's around 15 minutes.
Okay, it's done well. It's shot well. Putting it together, all of you, you kind of embody what the La Femme Film Festival is about, and it's all about women, not just telling what they know, but also kind of even if it was a different film, it's pretty cool the way it's shot. I mean, you obviously took some time on this. Are you working on anything else?
I think each one of us has different work. Iman has an amazing production company you can talk about briefly.
Thank you. Sure. I mean, Sarah needs to talk a lot about her project, her upcoming project as well. But just to start us off, we started a production company about a year ago. This was our flagship project. Small Dream is what kicked it off, actually. And now we're doing a lot of different projects in development, including kind of television and animation. So we're really excited to start pouring into bigger formats and potentially also a feature film that we're directing with. That our casting director on this project is actually going to direct. So we're excited about the future.
Well, I can't wait. I think there's a lot of stories to be. Look, we're at a time right now that people need to be kind of aware, our sister, our brother in other countries, which are not visited often, are kind of I'll give you a perfect example, Afghanistan, right? There's so many people that are not telling the story of the people abandoned, right? And there are women there that going, hey, where are you guys at? And I know a lot of people don't want to talk politics, but I do want to say this. We want to keep each other safe. And your film kind of highlights that, because it talks about something. Even though she wants to swim, there is kind of a thing that people have when it comes to the veil. There is certain things that people have in their mind, and there's certain ways of being that people think, oh, you have to, this or that. Do you want to speak on that real quick before we let you go?
Can you clarify on the question again? Because I felt.
Well, I'll give you an example. People don't understand kind of why the veil is worn, and then also what happens if you don't wear a veil. Does it should it include your life?
Well, I mean, Islam has, Muslim countries are very different, right? There are different cultures. So I'm going to speak on this part of the world, right? And, it is part of religion to cover your hair. It's just, those little things, let's just say going to the beach. When I think about it, my grandmother and my mother, who grew up Muslim all their lives, who also covered their hair, they had a different culture when it comes to, going to the beach or some physical freedom. So I think it became more oh, it's not cool anymore maybe to go in the water with your hijab, but it's just in other cultures, I don't know, maybe Egypt and in different cultures, it's very normal, it's very mundane for a woman who's fully covered to go in the water. And sometimes some hotels within those Muslim countries, they have a rule where it has to be in a bikini. So sometimes I wonder about that type, of freedom, where it's like, yes, it's true that, it's people respecting their religion, worshiping their God, but there are also spaces that have nothing to do with religion, right? Like, when you physically want to enjoy the water or something like that.
Yeah.
So I think it's really the culture of how people, perceive the veil. It's very different. It's very interesting. And I can only speak on this part of the world. And I can only speak of one type of women, you know what I mean? Because even I remember in the process where people were reading the script who are from this world, they were like, I don't know what's exactly her problem, because some people don't have this problem because they're in certain spaces within the same country. So
Right.
it really depends, right, on the circumstances you have.
Yeah, and I say for people that are like abroad, read certain verses even in the Holy Script, which a lot of people don't understand. It's kind of the same thing. You got guy telling people what to do, and then putting like they did death for something small. When in reality, I go, what are you doing with your life? I think there's balance that needs to be had, and I think at the end of the day, that's what the headdress was about: respect, honor, dignity. But if you miss it or it flies off, it doesn't mean it should end your life.
Definitely not. I mean, I guess we have to respect differences within the same faith as well.
Yeah, it's
Yeah,
ridiculous.
I think it's about at the end of the day, it's about choice, but also what's really, really important, and this is why this film exists. It's about social context, because you cannot take religion away from the social context that it's placed in. So some things are part of that, part of social norms, and not part of the religion itself. And there are things that are interlinked and mixed, and this is what we're seeing in our part of the world, which what we're trying to actually kind of shine a light on, that they're not necessarily kind of separated, but actually interlinked within this film as well.
Yeah, and before we let you go, Shifa, do you want to weigh in on this?
Yeah, I was just gonna say this isn't really a story about a woman who wants to take off her hijab and wear a bikini and jump around the beach. Like that's not the story that we're trying to tell. It's really about a woman who is very much in her faith, very much in her community, very much immersed in the the values that she grew up with, but within that tries to find the little joys that other people get to experience that, as Sarat said, may not be so uncommon in other parts of the world. So I think it's important to keep that in mind. Like, this isn't a story about a girl who, just wants to take everything off, leave everything behind, and I don't know. It's a different story that we're telling, and the character is also empowered in her own sense, in her own world, but is also very timid, very afraid, very cautious, and within that, there's a certain beauty that I think the film portrays well, and I hope you see that as well.
Well, I can't wait to watch it. I think, if anything, everybody has perspective, and you just need balance. And I say thank you for kind of creating the awareness that people need to know, because if you want to go swimming, you should be allowed to, right?
You should enjoy it. Yes.
Yeah, exactly. Okay, thank you very much for spending time with us. Again, you guys can check it out right now at the La Femme Film Festival. It's very simple. Just click on the link below, and then you can check it out. It's very simple. It's right there. Again, A Small Dream. It's taking place this week, October 13th through 16th at the La Femme International Film Festival. We'll be right back with more right after these messages. Thanks, ladies.
Thank you for having us.
Bye.
Roads Not Taken is something that I know we're going to want to see. We have with us, joining us right now, Kat Rohrer and Adriana Graziel. Good morning. Welcome to the show.
Thank you. Thank you for having us.
Hello.
Yeah, absolutely. Look, this film, obviously, I got to say kind of the beginning, because you put a lot of thought in this. It says the accidental meeting of Liz and Rachel after a long time opens old wounds and brings repressed feelings back to the surface. I got to ask, when they come back to the surface, what happens?
Big drama. Big
Okay,
drama.
that
Yeah, that makes sense. It's a film. We need the drama.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. So they meet, and after Ada's character Liz kind of wants to get away. She doesn't want to confront herself, but then Rachel keeps drawing her in, and every time Liz feels safe, there are moments where she's unsure if this reconnection is a good idea, and in the end, emotions blow up.
Okay, that makes sense. So, look, obviously putting this together, the both of you, is this your first film? I think this is like, how many films have you guys done together?
Together, it's our first film. Yeah. Yes.
Okay. I feel like you have more coming. Okay, so yeah, I can tell. With this, obviously, well, let me put it this way: kind of coming with the La Femme Film Festival, it's kind of like a nice. I will say, well, let me put it this way: was it easy to film or hard to film?
Well, we thought it was going to be easy just because we picked the summer, and it's going to be outside and not that many locations, as you do when you have a short film and you're trying to kind of keep the budget tight. But it ended up being the hottest week of that summer, and we suffered.
Well, we suffered, but on the other hand, I have to say that we rehearsed a lot beforehand. So all really important questions about where this is going and what we were supposed to do were resolved. So there was just adjustments to do in the end while shooting, but the exterior conditions, those were a bit difficult. But yeah, working was fun. Yeah.
Yeah, and I'm glad you work well together. Obviously, this story, well, let me ask you: has anyone else seen this?
No, we just had a cast and crew showing. This is our first festival now.
Even better, yay! Okay, so the 18th annual La Femme Film Festival, again, being international as much as we are, you can see it on your device. You just have to get the ticket right there. It is a short, but you could select the showing right there, and it's on demand for you all throughout the week. Every day, October 13th through 16th, you can check it out. It's right there, Roads Not Taken. I love the poster, by the way, and I love kind of that it kind of tells everything right there in that snapshot.
Yeah, that's what we're trying to get at, to be a little subtle, but to also give a hint at what's coming.
Yeah, exactly. Well, okay. So kind of, help me out with something that, of course, a lot of people are wondering about, which is whenever you put a film together, there's a lot of pieces that, you put together. And obviously you said, it kind of, every film has something you don't want to talk about, which is the behind the scenes stuff, right? But getting it to be kind of seen, people don't understand what a short is. It's a feature done without either A, little budget, or B, little time.
Yeah, both of those things. Yeah. I mean, you're trying to tell a whole story with a whole arc, with a whole emotional journey. I mean, that's the challenge in a short period of time, get the audience engaged, and also do that on a shoestring budget. So, and luckily there are festivals like La Femme and others that do highlight the short form, because most of the times they're easier to make. Getting films made is not that easy.
Yeah, exactly. Now I will say, Kat, I know you helped write this, right? Or did you write this all on your own?
I wrote it all on my own. I mean, I had, people gave me feedback, but yeah, I wrote it.
Got it. Okay. And then working together, obviously, like, okay. And I have here, both you, Adriana, and Kat, how did you meet and how did you put like all this together, like as little as you did, like as quick, as fast as you did?
Well, we actually met through the casting process.
Yes, exactly. Very classical
casting process. We actually did, because I knew that the two women had to have a certain kind of chemistry. So it wasn't like I can cast Liz's character and Rachel's character separately and hope it works. So we had to have chemistry reads, because it was very important that you could put the two of them on set and feel that they've had a long history. And so Julia the who plays Rachel, who unfortunately can't be here today. We paired both Ada and Julia together and with other actresses, but it was very clear because you were our first couple that it was very clear. I kind of knew in that moment that it was going to be you guys.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
Well, and I love that you did it this way, because sometimes people don't understand, how long did this take?
5 days.
Yeah, we shot 5 days, but from inception, I mean, I wrote the script, I think, over a year, and then we raised the funds, and then let's say half a year from pre-production to final cut.
And now you're like featuring it at the La Femme Film Fest. What does that feel like?
It feels amazing.
Hey.
I mean, the funny story is that my first short, right out of college, premiered at La Femme and won Best Short back in the day.
Really? So you're returning, like what do we call that? We gotta have like a returning thing. I don't know what it is. Sometimes I meet returning people, and I go, "Did you get inspired through La Femme?" What would you answer?
Yeah, I mean, it was the most amazing experience. I think they were in their first year that year.
Oh, wow.
It was a long while ago because I kind of swayed away and started doing documentaries. But it's amazing to be invited back now, so many years later, and with a short film again.
Well, I love that you guys brought this together. Okay, what's next for you both, like on your next feature?
Well, I also played in a movie that's called The Fox, and it's coming out next year. It's a feature film about the Second World War, it plays on the background of the Second World War, but it's a story of a soldier who's becoming friends with a fox baby. And that is played in Tallinn at the Black Nights Festival in November.
Okay, what's a fox baby? I got so many questions right now.
Like a baby fox.
It's a baby fox.
Baby fox.
Like a real fox.
Animal,
Yeah.
a baby fox. Yeah, and that kind of becomes his support animal, right?
Yeah, that's right. Yeah.
Okay. I love foxes already, unless they bite you. There's a lot of rabies going on, so it's got none of that, right?
No, none of that.
No, it was checked before.
Thank God.
Yeah, and I'm in development of a rom-com, 2 women above 50 falling in love. Ada's going to be part of that. Not as one of the she's younger, not as one of the 50-year-olds, but she has a very prominent role in it as well. So yes, you're right. We will work together again.
Yeah.
Even better. Oh, there it is. There's the high five. Okay, well, I'm excited for you both. I'm excited for this film. Again, let me bring it up so you guys can see it. It's really cool. You can check it out right now. Road's Not Taken. And the way it reads is really good. Again, the accidental meeting of Liz and Rachel after a long time opens old wounds, brings repressed feelings back to the surface during a walk. Moments of intimacy and tenderness pop up as illusions of the past. It takes both women courage to open up until the present catches up with them. I got a question on that. What's the advice there for people to, like, when they meet, to like deal with all that? Because sometimes it's not that easy.
Well,
But
I think, is there any advice to give? I think something falls upon you, and then you just go with it as you can. You
deal with it as best
you deal with it the best you can, and we're all human, so I guess the best we can is not always the same for everyone.
Yeah, you try to stay authentic to yourself if you can.
Yes, exactly. Yeah.
All right, well, that makes sense. Okay, so I can't wait to see it. Awesome. Looking forward to much more from the both of you. Obviously, all the films. How can we follow you both on your great journey?
Well, you can follow me either through my website, www.greencatproductions.com, with a K though, because it's cat, or at greencat11 on Instagram. And your Instagram?
It's Adriana Graziel on Instagram.
All right. You can get all of the great films, all for the low price of right there on your device right there. You can watch it on your TV, and you can do so right now. So go check out lafemme.eventive.org. Thank you both for spending time with us, and thank you for making it a great one. And congratulations on all the stuff you're going to bring full front row and center.
Thank you so much. Thanks for having us.
Thank you.
Absolutely. Okay, more right after these messages.
In the beginning, all films were short.
It's not a charity. We're not here to help you. We're not here to help your cause. We're there to make our money make money.
It probably takes a year to 2 years to really start seeing money.
That title of executive producer on a feature is not the same as the title of executive producer on a television show.
Don't give yourself a bad review before you start.
I'm sorry, I'm super awesome, and this is my pitch.
In the beginning, all films were short.
It's not a charity. We're not here to help you. We're not here to help your cause. We're there to make our.
Joining us right now is Vivian Ip, and Vivian, you have this. It's called an Island Drifts. It's something kind of in a location I kind of want to visit. Not going to lie, especially in Singapore. Should I?
Should you visit? Yes, you should visit.
Okay, even better. So I will say this: it's in Singapore. It's about a young teacher, and what happens in the film?
An incident happens between a young primary school boy and a classmate, and it leads to a misunderstanding. And when the teacher investigates, there are some devastating consequences for the both of them. So it's about like a cycle of pressure and mistakes that can derail a life, But the show, it's just a snapshot of overly pressurized environment, and it shows that it trickles from a young kid to an adult, and the cycle may never end. That sounded really depressing, but you should visit Singapore all the same.
Well, I don't mind depressing. I think La Femme is full of it, not gonna lie. But it also has humor, it has fun, it has things we should talk about, it has things that people kind of go, okay, I don't know what to do about that, right? And when people watch this, what should they kind of take home?
The themes of identity, individual versus society, all that, it's pretty, it comes across pretty nuanced, I think, in the film. It's not meant to be didactic or with any moral instruction. I think it's just to open a conversation, talk about complex social dynamics.
All right. Well, I'm looking forward to seeing it. I know there's a lot of things to see. Putting it together, though, I got to ask, what was that like?
Difficult in the middle of the pandemic, and certainly with 40 background kids. And this was all pre-vaccines and stuff. So at the height of the pandemic, it was difficult. And not being a filmmaker in Singapore, I'm largely based in Los Angeles, going back to find the perfect dynamic of cast and crew, that also took some time. But I'm really glad it came together.
Yeah, well, it looks good. I can't wait to see it. Sometimes when you get to travel, you get to travel with your eyes only, and you never get to go visit. I don't know how much it is to get there, but I love the culture in Singapore, and kind of being. Where are you tuning in for, by the way?
Los Angeles.
Oh, even better. Okay, so when you go there or you go here, what's the filmmaking like? Is it the same? Is it a little different? Are people? We just talked to somebody earlier from Paris, and she's like, they do things for free here for art, and I'm like, I don't know anyone who does that.
Yeah, definitely not so much for free back home, just because also Singapore is pretty much a very expensive city to live in. A token fee was what my crew got, and I was very grateful for the help all the same. There are a lot of creature comforts that you are used to filming in LA that you don't get back home. And also the resources and the vendors, locations, things like that's pretty sparse compared to what we have here in LA. But I like being at home. It is the backyard that I grew up in, and it was very gratifying to shoot a personal story in somewhere very close to my heart.
Well, Vivian, I know we're running out of time and we're running behind, but I want to say this. Congratulations on this. Again, for those of you that want to check it out, you can do so right now. Just click on the link or type it in. It's lafemme.eventive.org/films. And you can see the trailer right there, and you can actually go ahead and get that, and you can get it along with all the great stuff right here. So again, thank you, Vivian, for doing everything you do. And thank you for bringing us a great film.
Thank you, everyone. Thank you for your time, Aaron.
Thank you.